Morning, Gracie.
Morning, Tom.
Boy, am I hungry.
You're always hungry.
How about a couple of eggs and some whole wheat toast, hash browns, tomatoes?
You won't have time.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Jasper.
You had breakfast yet?
No, I was just going to order a...
Good. You don't want to get shot on a full stomach.
Jasper.
Yes?
Jasper.
Yes?
Jasper, I don't want to be shot at all.
I told you he was going to be a poor sport about it.
Tom, don't you remember what happened last year?
Jasper's big cliffhanger?
The Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour?
See, I told you Tom would remember.
We got renewed?
Can you believe it? This is the first show of our second season.
Look, maybe you and Gracie should do the show all by yourselves.
We can't do that, Tom.
Why not?
We wouldn't have anyone to shoot.
For the cliffhanger from last season.
Exactly.
Jasper, last season, every time I did the show, I got hurt.
Nothing really serious.
Except for that section of the roof that fell on his head.
And not every show.
Well, I could have gotten electrocuted by the radio equipment when that switch broke.
Close calls don't count.
And I was attacked by a wild animal.
You mean that goose that pooped on your lap?
And I got shot at by Americans.
Tom, everybody gets shot at by Americans.
He did almost strangle in those overalls from Billy Jumping Bull's used clothing emporium.
And we did hit him a couple of times on the last show. Huh. Okay, Tom. You don't have to do the show.
I don't?
So, what would you like for breakfast?
I don't have to do the show?
That's right.
Unless I wanted to do the show.
I wouldn't hear of it.
But
You've suffered enough.
it's not that I mind doing the show.
Gracie and I will manage just fine.
As a matter of fact, I like doing the show.
We do need someone with a white accent to play Ottawa Bob.
And one of us should be unsympathetic.
And there is the coffee.
Okay. I'll pay for the coffee.
For the whole season?
All right.
Great. Welcome back to the show.
That was easier than we figured.
It sure was.
Hey, wait a minute.
Let's start the show. And Tom, could you make the introduction sound more professional?
Well, what's wrong with the way I do the introduction?
Ira Basin doesn't like the Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour.
Who's Ira Basin?
He's the head of CBC Radio. Gracie and I figure that it's probably because of the introduction.
But I thought the head of CBC Radio loved the show.
That was last year's head of CBC Radio.
Oh.
You've got to stay current, Tom.
But if he didn't like the show, why did we get renewed?
That's what I like about Tom, Gracie. He's not afraid to ask the hard questions. Okay, let's start the show. Take it away, Tom.
From Blossom, Alberta, it's the Dead Dog...
CBC, Tom, CBC.
From Blossom, Alberta, it's the Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour with your host, Jasper Friendly Bear.
Hey, that really took my breath away. What about you, Gracie?
You going to introduce me or not?
Oops, sorry. And Gracie Heavy Hand.
That's better.
So, Tom, who are our guests?
Wait a minute. What about me?
I know. You're going to tell me that you don't know who our guests are.
I never know who our guests are. No, I meant, what about my introduction?
It was great. I really loved the way you tried to roll those S's.
No. Gracie is supposed to introduce me, but she didn't do it.
Gracie, did you forget to introduce Tom?
I didn't forget.
See?
I did it on purpose.
What a kidder.
It's been a slow day.
Okay, look, forget the introduction. I want to know why CBC renewed our contract when the man in charge of radio, whoever he is, doesn't like the show.
Wouldn't you rather know who our guests are?
Coffee?
Jasper?
Have you ever heard of the report of the Royal Commission on Aboriginal People?
I made it extra strong.
If I ask, will I be sorry?
Probably.
Okay, Jasper. Yes, I've heard of the report of the Royal Commission on Aboriginal People, but what does it have to do with CBC renewing the contract for the Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour?
Volume 5, Making Public Education a Reality.
Jasper.
The section on the media.
Gracie.
Recommendation 5.4.5.
Jasper, Gracie, look, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Good grief. He hasn't read the report of the Royal Commission on Aboriginal People.
You haven't read the report, Tom?
Well, of course not.
Wrong answer, Tom.
You're an educated Indian, Tom.
Well, I do have a couple of university degrees.
You're brilliant.
Well, I don't know I'd go that far.
I certainly wouldn't.
You keep up on current affairs?
Jasper, the report is 5 volumes long.
Actually, it's 6 volumes. Volume 2 had to be published in 2 parts.
That's right, Gracie.
Wait a minute. Are you two trying to tell me you've read the entire report?
It's the most important document written on Native people in Canada's history.
The recommendations the commissioners came up with could change the course of Aboriginal-white relationships in this country.
Well, I'm impressed. But what does the Royal Commission report have to do with CBC?
Here, look at this. Volume 5, page 106, recommendation 5.4.5.
The Commission recommends that Canadian media reflect the growing presence of Aboriginal people in their audience or readership by hiring Aboriginal journalists and broadcasters and by giving greater priority to coverage of Aboriginal issues and communities.
Don't forget recommendation 5.4.6.
The Commission recommends that Aboriginal radio and television programming be available to all Canadians via cable TV, building on the service of TV Northern Canada and the radio services of Aboriginal communication societies.
So you see, Tom, if it weren't for the Royal Commission report, the Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour would have been just another scintillating radio show mistakenly tossed up on a heap of corporate myopia.
It's hard to ignore the recommendations of a Royal Commission.
Oh, wait a minute. You think the head of CBC Radio read the report and saw these recommendations, and that's why they renewed the Dead Dog Cafe Comedy Hour?
Post hoc, ergo propter hoc.
Post hoc, ergo propter hoc?
Personally, I preferred an original Cree. Kasi pegenat mana kiseh games nice to gimuak.
It's not Cree, Gracie. It's Latin. It means after this, therefore, because of this.
And people say a liberal education is a waste of time.
Yeah, but it's a logical fallacy. Jasper, it's an error in thinking.
You know, Tom, I'll bet there aren't a handful of people in the entire country who know that.
Look, if I told you that there probably isn't a politician or a corporate executive in the country who has read the entire complete report, would it hurt your feelings?
Mascoch.
Probably.
Hey, what say we call a bingo number?
Good idea, Tom. And there's the music for Friendly Bear's Blackout Bingo, the game where listeners make up their own cards. Gracie, tell everyone how to play.
Listen to the show for the numbers, and when your card is blacked out, send it to us at the Dead Dog Cafe, Box 555, Edmonton, Alberta, T5J 2P4, and we'll send you a nifty prize.
Let's rattle those balls.
B8.
You know, we called B8 all of last season.
That's right.
Don't you think it's time we called another number?
You don't like B8?
We haven't had any complaints.
That's not the point.
Speaking of complaints, we got some letters after the show ended last season.
Complaints?
Better than that. Look at this, Tom.
It's from Marcel Hebert in Cornwall, Ontario.
Guess what he sent us?
Money?
Even better than that.
Marcel sent us Louis Riel's homepage address on the internet.
What?
www.paranoia.com/funnylittlemark/lreal.html.
Now you can email him and see if he'll be on the show.
Jasper, do you remember what I told you about Louis Riel?
You said he was dead.
That's right.
How do you explain the email address?
Anyone can get an email address.
Why would a dead guy have an email address?
Elvis Presley probably has an email address.
I had a feeling he wasn't dead.
Jasper.
Yes?
Jasper.
Yes?
Jasper, Louis Riel is dead.
What about Elvis?
Elvis is dead, too.
This could be serious.
What's that, Gracie?
Tom believing that everyone else in the world is dead except him.
It's probably just a strain of the first show of the season. What other mail did we get?
Here's an email from Tom Atkinson. Dear Dead Dog, leave it to the CBC to grant airtime to a bunch of loonies, etc., etc.
Wait a minute. There's more to the letter than that.
He also says we've set Indian issues back zillions of years. I like that, too.
You can't just read the parts of the letter you like.
Why not? They do it all the time with movie reviews.
Yeah, but Gracie, this letter is satirical. The writer actually likes the show. If you didn't read the whole letter, you might think he was complaining about the show.
Did we get any requests for authentic Indian names?
Hundreds.
Boy, we better get busy spinning those wheels.
Here's a letter from Lisa Thackeray in Port Alice, B.C.
Wait a minute. I've been thinking about this, and I believe we may have an ethical problem here.
Where?
I'm not sure we should be giving away authentic Indian names.
You want to spin the first wheel, Gracie?
Sure.
No, wait.
Tom, do you know how many wonderful and heartwarming stories we've received from people who have gotten authentic Indian names?
You mean people who received authentic Indian names last season actually sent in stories about their most interesting encounter with an Indian?
Nope.
But all that is going to change.
Jasper, don't you think it's a little unethical, not to mention culturally repugnant, to be giving away authentic Indian names to non-Indians in exchange for stories about someone's most interesting encounter with an Indian?
Couldn't agree more.
So we're going to stop doing it.
Are you kidding?
From now on, they have to send in their story first, before they get their name.
Gracie!
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Let's spin those wheels. Okay, Lisa Thackeray from Port Alice, B.C. Here's your authentic Indian name. So, what do we have on the first wheel, Gracie?
The first name is Beulah.
What's the second name, Tom?
I'm not going to be party to this.
Don't we have to shoot Tom at some point?
That's right.
Maybe now is a good time.
Okay. The second name is Tardy.
And the third name is... Chicken. Beulah Tardy Chicken. Boy, you know, the old-fashioned names are always the best.
You just don't get names like that anymore.
So, Lisa Thackeray, your new authentic Indian name is Beulah Tardy Chicken.
Here's a letter from Peter Richard Ware in Thomasburg, Ontario. Dear Dead Dog Cafe, ever since I first heard Dead Dog on Morningside a while back, all life grinds to a halt. I'm unemployed, so I get to listen to Morningside all the time.
Well, I'll bet he's disappointed that Morningside was canceled.
Morningside was canceled?
Yeah, it was canceled quite a while ago. Don't you listen to radio?
No. Was it announced on television?
So this guy wants an authentic Indian name?
Let's see. I was wondering, can I get a new name? I've had this name for a long time and would like to get a new name from that spinning wheel.
You sure Morningside was canceled?
Positive.
Okay, Peter Richard Ware of Thomasburg, Ontario. Let's spin those wheels. All right. Tom, what's the first name?
The first name is Barlow.
The second name is Blue.
And the third name is Belly. Barlow Blue Belly. Wow, that sounds like one of those fancy Hollywood Indian names.
With a name like that, I'll bet he won't be unemployed for long.
Okay, Peter Richard Ware, your authentic Indian name is Barlow Bluebelly. But don't forget,
before you can use your new authentic Indian name, you have to write us and tell us about your most interesting experience with an Indian.
is that the end of the show?
The second half hour really goes by fast.
It sure does. We didn't get a chance to talk with a guest or have Gracie share one of her fabulous recipes with our listeners.
And we forgot to shoot Tom.
Well, we'll be better organized next show. In the meantime, this is Jasper Friendly Bear.
And Gracie Heavy Hand.
And Tom King saying,
So long for now. And don't forget, stay calm.
Be brave.
Wait for the signs. Tom, you really think that none of the politicians in Ottawa has read the Royal Commission's report?
Well, the report's been out for a while now, and no one has done anything about its recommendations.
Maybe they just haven't had time to read it yet.
Maybe they're illiterate.
They're not illiterate.
Maybe they're just stupid.
Politicians?
Come on, guys, it's not that funny. They're running the country.